Gary, the latest round of COVID-19 testing results, well, the tests took place at the start of this week. You don't have to name names, but did you have a positive test among those results?
Yeah, look, we had our results and we're waiting. Well, we've had our test, sorry, and then I'm due to speak to the doctor later this morning when all of the tests have come back in. We've had a few come back. So it's obviously often within 24, 48 hours that they come back, and just waiting for all of our tests to come back in. And we should be due that this morning fully. So I'm going to speak to the doctor later this afternoon. But up to this point, we've had we've had a clean bill of health, but when we have the full results, that's when the doctor tells me and speaks to everyone at the club. He waits for them all to come back in and see where we're at with it. So at this moment, we haven't had anything. We've had a clean bill of health all the way through all the tests, but we'll see, again, as we always do, wait for all the tests to be completed, and then the doctor relays that information to all of us.
If you do get a positive test, how do you think that will go down amongst the group? Because when you're getting clear tests over and over again, and then you do get a positive test, does that change? Could it potentially change the way that players feel about coming back?
Well, there's protocols in place, and like I said, we with the announcement of contact training coming so late on Monday, so our training week has been last week and this week will be. We train Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday is an off day, and then we train Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and obviously our day off is today. So when it got announced for contact training late on Monday night, where the club has to hand back in its sign off and stuff like that, and the risk assessments and everything like that, it was too late at that point to change what we were doing on the Tuesday. So we were already following the social distance training. So I guess at this point, if we did have anything, we haven't been really in close contact. We did one part of training yesterday, right at the very end, which was more what you'd say contact training, but it was still very, very minimal. So I think now when you move into the contact phase of it, it will be a lot different to what the social distance side of it in terms of that phase. So yeah, there's protocols in place. It's for the doctors and everything to assess how long that contact was. Of course, we all have the players all have GPS units. We can track everything in terms of time spent together, the space in between each other. I think each case will kind of be dealt with like that. We'll go off the medical guidance on that, and they will tell us whether that was a high risk or anything to anyone else, or whether that individual had contact or what type of contact he had. We were able to track that on the GPS. So got a lot of information for it, but yeah, we'll just have to cross those bridges when we come and take the medical advice. And of course, in those moments, the main thing is to speak with the group if there's any concerns or anything like that. Like I've said all the way through from the very start, and the players know that. And yeah, we'll have those conversations if when that point comes.
At the weekend, the EFL announced there'd been 10 positive tests at 8 clubs. It's quite a stark contrast to the Premier League, where there were no positive tests at the weekend. Is that concerning at all? And June 20th, I think, is just a provisional date at this point. Should the EFL consider moving it back a week?
In my opinion, from a welfare point of view, and from what we kind of believed all the way through and what we were doing, like I said to you earlier, we've always believed, I think, that we were working at least a week, definitely a week behind the Premier League. So yeah, of course, I think that should happen. But whether it will or not, like I said, it seems to be those decisions that were made like that weren't with any consultation to us as clubs. So whether we have a say in that or anything remains to be seen. But of course, you'd like to think that will happen. But all I'm trying to do is control what I can control and deal with what we're doing. That's what we're trying to do. Now that that's been announced, we have to try and focus on trying to prepare these players as best as possible to start on the 20th. But if common sense and what we had asked in that managers meeting and what's kind of been the consensus all the way through, that we were always starting a week behind. I understand the reasons why the EFL wanted to do that date, but yeah, I think it's unfair on us in terms of the Premier League are starting on that date. They've had longer in contact training. They've had longer period when they started training than we have. And of course, we would like the same. I think that's always been the kind of consensus. So hopefully common sense prevails in that sense, because it's not just about all of that. It's about the safety of everyone. And hopefully, like I said, we've been always a week behind them at least. So, yeah, hopefully that common sense comes through.
Finally, in terms,
I'd like it to come through, but
yeah,
whether it does or not, we'll see.
finally, in terms of contracts for new players, for key players, are you waiting, or are you having to wait for clarity on what division you'll be in next season before being able to finalise anything? And are you confident that you'll be able to retain the likes of Morgan Fox and Steven Fletcher?
Well, there's conversations, as I said before, that are ongoing. And in terms of, those type of conversations, to clarify that, I think you're waiting as well to see when officially for definite that these fixtures are going, and when they start and when they finish, and get that concrete, okay, this is it. I know they've announced that, but there's still debate around it. So I think once we get that 100% clarification, and EFL turn around to us and say whether that's moving it back a week or this is the date, the 20th is the start, this is 100% definite, because there's still a lot of things that have to be decided with that. There's been no communication or understanding of what we do with travel on that side of it yet. I know, speaking to Trevor, the media side of it has not been clarified yet, and all that. So there's still a lot of things, even though that announcement was made, that haven't been clarified or come to a conclusion yet. So those type of conversations as well we need to know where we're at. We need to know that this is when these games are starting and this is when they're finishing. That will tell us a lot in terms of where that goes to and what we may need in the short term and the long term. But look, the bigger picture on contract players and out of contract players, and even players, decisions that I have to make in any situation in terms of futures of players and what the future of the group is. I have to make, part of my job is I have to make decisions not everyone will agree with. Some might not even like those decisions, but that is my job. I've had to do it constantly for 6 years, where I make difficult decisions. Not everyone agrees with them, but the most important bit is when I make those decisions, I try and make them always with the right intention for the future of the club and where I feel that the squad needs to go. And I'll continue to do that. And if they're difficult and some people don't like them, or some people might not necessarily agree with them, the most important bit is the club agrees with it and they understand the reasons behind it. And yeah, we try and work in that way, but that's part of my job. I have to do that. So like I said, it will always be with the best intention of moving forward and how that squad needs to look and evolve. So that will always be my aim. It's been my aim since I've started management, and it will always be that way as well, even in these moments now.